I'm going to talk to you about the shooting on the highway that took place where that black man was fatally shot. Now, I saw it on CNN News. They posted it up. I saw it. You had two police officers, right? One was talking to one of the other passengers while the other passenger was leaning on the car talking to one police officer. The other police officer attended to the car. So you had a girl in there with a baby, and you had another man there, and you had another man on the side of that car. So as the police officer was talking, trying to get the guy out, the victim, the man who became the victim, because he was the aggressor, to make a long story short, I'm going to sum it up, he jumped out of the car because the police must have turned his back. So once the policeman turned his back, he came out with a gun, shooting at him, so they had to run, take cover, and they fired back, shot him in the leg. So once he came around the car, the police officer had his back turned to him. So fortunately enough, that guy either didn't have no ammo in his gun, because he could have shot that policeman in the back of his head. So he gun butt the policeman in his face and all that. And that's when the other policeman took cover and shot him multiple times. Now, this is what I'm saying. This guy was known to police. Has been in and out of prison. He was on bond when that took place. And if you ask me, I don't have no sympathy for that, because he instigated that. He was the aggressor. I have to call it for what it is. That man was a threat to society, right? And for him to be that aggressive towards the police, and they weren't even aggressive towards him. They didn't even have the weapons drawn when they asked him to get out of the car. So he fired the first shot, and he ended up with the wrong end of the stick. Now, this is something that you lots got to learn in the black community. You can't be screaming racism when situations like this take place. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you will never learn, and you will never hold yourselves accountable. Right? You don't want to encourage, especially blacks, to think that they could disobey the law and dare not face any repercussions. The police, they did what they had to do in that situation. The way the situation turned out, it wasn't good, but at the end of the day, they didn't have no other choice. They shot him in the leg, but he kept on coming towards the police with the weapon. What you want him to do? Let him kill them? No, they did the right thing. Because he drew fire first. He was a threat. He was a clear threat. If he wasn't a threat, he would have never took out that gun and shot at the policeman. So, he's dead. So the black community needs to learn from that. Instead of marching every time talking about black power and the cops need to be held accountable, in this situation, the cops were absolutely within the confines of the law. They were defending themselves. It was a life and death situation. But what made it even worse, the passenger in the car, the driver of the car, the guy who got fatally shot and murdered, he had his girlfriend in there and his kid. So what does that say about him? About a man that's going to draw a firearm on a policeman. And they're not even being a threat. They're not even being aggressive. They didn't draw their weapons on him. And it's got a child in the car. He has to be held accountable. But he got held accountable. He's no longer breathing. It's unfortunate. I don't wish death on nobody, but it's a certain way you conduct yourself. You have to uphold these laws. We know how the police are with black men. So you don't want to give them a reason to shoot you and kill you. In this instance, that guy gave him a reason in Florida on the highway to shoot him and kill him. He gave him every reason to. You lots got to stop giving the police a reason to shoot you and murder you. Hold yourselves accountable. You got to know when the police pull up to the car, you got to know your rights. Don't be aggressive. Don't draw no weapons or no firearms, because you're always going to end up with the short end of the stick.